Hi, I'm Enzo Strider with my GTA 5 review. Now, there we go. Just prove that I've actually got the game. Because on the day of release, there was a lot of reviews cropping up, none of which I've viewed. I always leave other reviews until I've actually recorded my own, get my own opinion out there, and my review isn't coloured by any other reviews. So, but back to these day one reviews that were coming out. Now, a friend of mine who had seen some, he was saying to me, a lot of these guys, he got the game day one as well, my friend. He was saying a lot of these guys who were reviewing it, they didn't seem to know what they were talking about. And of course, they just got into it, they wanted to get their review out quick, so they get lots of views on YouTube or whatever, their reviews up on their websites respectively, and get as many hits as possible. And I'm not that kind of guy. I don't go for views, I don't go for subscribers. Just give my honest opinion. So my review is completely uncoloured, and these guys who got it out day one, well, shame on them just for trying to get views and whatever. It seemed very dishonest. Like, whenever you start playing any new game, of course it's going to seem all sparkling new and fantastic, whereas when I actually review a game, I try and sit down, I play as much of it as possible and play through it twice if I can. I've only managed the one playthrough on GTA 5, but I'm currently in the middle of my second, and I feel confident enough to give it an honest review. So I'll start all my reviews. This is going to be spoiler free, but I do start off all my reviews with what I think of the story. I wasn't a big fan, if I'm honest. The main reason was because the characters in GTA 5, they just seem to stumble. Your characters, you do have three main characters in this game, but they just seem to stumble from one event to another without any real motivation. I mean, there's a little there, but it's hardly justified. On numerous occasions where, and this isn't spoilers, but they say like, we're out, we're done, the certain characters will turn up again and will say, well, you still need to do this, you're not out yet, which I found annoying. The rest of the game revolves around the heists, which will come as no surprise. They've been well advertised in trailers and such, and the heists are very enjoyable. I can't actually fault them. You've of course got different options of doing these. I've tried a couple of them, and they're very well done. The heists, they're definitely the highlight of the game. The voice acting is wonderful, and the actual scripting is fantastic. But the story unfortunately just falls that little bit short for me in comparison to Grand Theft Auto 4, where Niko Bellic's story was very personal and a tale of revenge and coming to a new country and trying to escape an old life, but unfortunately falling back into that and trying to find that special someone. So onto the map of talking about a free an open world game, you have to talk about the map a bit. This isn't the biggest map I've ever seen in a game. The biggest map I've seen in a game goes to that honour goes to Just Cause 2. That map is absolutely massive, but fortunately San Andreas does tell its own story. You can drive around areas, and that some even little streets have their own story to tell, just with these little details. The detail of the map is the best I have ever seen in any game. Just all these little details. I was driving down one street. I can't even remember where it was. It was a wealthy-ish area. As I was driving around, there was floral wreaths and flowers on a corner, and obviously some guy had died there. Maybe in a gang hit. Maybe it was just like a hit and run or something, but it had its own little story there, and the fact that a random encounter happened while I was there just made it a little bit more special for me. I won't say what that encounter was in case you guys get that as well. So, by the way, I am going from my notes again. For a game this scale, I did have to take notes. So graphics are awesome. We're at the end of the current generation, so you expect the graphical bar to be very high, but this surpassed everything that I actually thought it was going to be. It was graphically beautiful. All these little details everywhere. It made me wonder how they actually crammed it onto current generation consoles. Honestly, when I was playing this, I was thinking this looks next gen to me. If this is current generation, who knows what next generation is going to be like. So I wanted to talk a little about the sound. I never talk about sound and music in my reviews. There is a good reason for that. It's generally because I've always said a good background music will always be just that. It'll be something there in the background adding to the experience. But with this, also yet again, it was a bit hit and miss, but I'll elaborate on that. The sound effects are fantastic. If you have a collision with your car, if you fire a gun, it sounds meaty and weighty and how you expect it to sound. And the original score in this is fantastic. It's the first Grand Theft Auto game with an original score. And you know, there's like bits where you're tailing someone and the music's a bit film noir. And it goes in very well with the game. But unfortunately, the radio stations are a bit hit and miss. Now, because I'm a bit older, I'm a mature gamer. Some of the radio stations, they were playing classic rock, classic hip hop, classic pop, and I was remembering this sort of stuff. But I can understand how some people wouldn't remember or have fond memories to some of the soundtrack like I did. So yeah, I could understand why some people wouldn't like the soundtrack. Also, just while I'm talking about the radio station being a bit of hit and miss, the TV channels return. I think there's only 2 now instead of the maybe 3 or 4 there were in Grand Theft Auto 4. But the sound seemed to dip very low for me. I couldn't actually turn it up using my Xbox controller to something that I could hear comfortably. I mean, I am deaf in one ear, so I do have troubles hearing anyway. And I actually had to physically turn my my TV up to hear the TV channels come through. But they're humorous yet again, entertaining. You can sit there, you can put one on, and just while you have your dinner, while you're taking a break from gaming. So yeah, that was one thing that there's still quality there. I don't know if you spent much time on the TV channels in Grand Theft Auto 4, but if you did, you're going to spend a bit of time here as well. I think there's maybe about 2 hours of, maybe just an hour actually, of TV shows, and they're all very humorous. There's like a spoof on, like your American Idol or X Factor. There's like a spoof on those with a Fame or Shame. I won't spoil that for you because there's a certain GTA character who turns up during that, and it's the first time we get to see this character. That's maybe saying a bit too much, but for me that was actually a highlight right there, of being able to see this character. Checking my notes again. I wanted to talk about the control. Okay. You're aiming of your gun. Now, they have the Grand Theft Auto traditional setup, which is an auto lock. I don't like using auto lock in any game. I like to free aim. But when I switched it to free aim, unfortunately the reticule is a tiny grey dot. Now I say grey because it's not a white dot like in Max Payne, or a white dot as it were in Grand Theft Auto 4, where you could see it and you could free aim comfortably. But with this, the dot is so small and so off colour that you can't actually tell where you're aiming half the time. And I really struggled to actually, kill anything with a gun while free aiming, so I felt restricted and had to go back to Grand Theft Auto traditional, which is a hard lock. It's an auto aim. It pretty much does the work for you. So I was a little upset with that because it was just, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me. It's essentially a cheat as an auto lock. I don't like using that, so I had to scale it back to assisted aim, and so with this aiming mechanic and not being able to see the white dot, it was really annoying. I mean, I'm viewing it on a HD TV, and the fact that I was struggling to free aim was resulting in me dying quite a lot. I mean, I'm not a bad gamer, I'm pretty average, but the fact that I was struggling in the early missions just to hit someone with a gun, I just thought that wasn't good enough. Excuse me one moment. It didn't take me to drink. I was just a bit dry. So the handling of the cars, I also wanted to talk about. Okay, it's not as weighty as the Grand Theft Auto 4 handling, where the back end would swing out endlessly when I was playing, but driving isn't my strong suit in games. It's a new, slick handling, it's very arcadey, and it took me a while to get used to it, to be perfectly honest. I was hitting things with regularity because of this new handling. I had just come off the back of playing Grand Theft Auto 4 and coming into the Grand Theft Auto 5, so I was expecting the games to handle very similar. But the fact that they switched to this new arcadey handling, it was throwing me to begin with. But you do pick it up very quick, it's not a major problem. But in the end, I did grow to love the new arcade handling. So how long is the game? And I can only compare it to the previous game in the series, which is Grand Theft Auto 4. And I don't think it's as long as Grand Theft Auto 4. But with the amount of side quests, collectibles, mini games, there's still so much to offer here. In fact, I probably played this game for as long, if not longer, than Grand Theft Auto 4, just because of the wealth of mini games like golf and tennis. I mean, just earlier I was playing some golf. I got a bit frustrated when I missed a perfect shot and I ended up in a sand bunker. I went on a mini rampage in a golf cart. It happens to all of us, you know. So there's just so much to do. Even just going up to the top of the mountain, Mount Chiliad, and throwing yourself off with a parachute is just no end of fun. So I was just really enjoying that, and then going back up again and doing it again. I was really enjoying just throwing myself off at mountains with a parachute. It was great fun. So I never give games a score, and that's because I don't know. I just seem to think I should list the pros and cons and let you guys make up your minds to yourself. But for this one, I'm going to do it. I'm going to actually put a score onto a game, and I give Grand Theft Auto 5. Get ready to type into the comments box, you're wrong, but I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not the be all and end all that people say it is. It's not this amazing game that's defined our generation. It's very, very strong and very, very enjoyable. I understand people have been giving it 10 out of 10s across the board, but there was the little niggles here that I just found uncomfortable. I had to drop a point for the story because it just wasn't as interesting as Niko Bellic's was in Grand Theft Auto 4. I had to drop half a point for the controls not being as good as we expected them to be, and the sound. I had to drop a point yet again because the radio stations were just very hit and miss. It's very strong, very capable, and very enjoyable. I would definitely recommend picking it up. Maybe if you preferred Grand Theft Auto's 4's handling, maybe it's a rental just to try it out and see if you like it. If you don't like new arcade style controls, maybe it's not for you, because of course with every Grand Theft Auto there's a lot of driving involved. Although they did scale it back in this one, which is something I should mention just quickly. Before, when you had to drive to a quest giver, pick up a job, and then return to said quest giver, now you know your guy just phones it in. Another thing, I nearly forgot this about with the missions involved. This is in fact I'm going to ramp this up to 9 out of 10 because I just remembered this, and this is fantastic. The variety of missions is phenomenal. I have not played a game in a long time where it introduces something new on pretty much every mission. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but on certain missions it will introduce a new aspect. I'm not just talking like a control aspect or something to train you up. It's literally a new aspect in each mission. Well, nearly every mission. There's a new aspect here that you have to use. There's a new aspect here that you have to use. There's a new gameplay thing here that you have to use. And it really does add variety. So overall, 9 out of 10. I'll give it that extra half point. It's made up for it with the variety of mission, which is something that I've always critiqued. Even Mass Effect 3, I wouldn't give a 9 out of 10. That would have been an 8.5. I didn't enjoy Mass Effect 3 as much as I did Mass Effect 1 or Mass Effect 2. It's not as good as the two preceding it, just because the missions seem very samey. So yeah, I'm a Mass Effect fan. I mean, N7 Strider, it's right there, N7. And I'm giving this game, Grand Theft Auto 5, a 9 out of 10, which would be 1 point higher, well, half a point higher than Mass Effect 3. So that's me saying this is a fantastic game. Okay, so what's coming up next will be the online review. I didn't actually like having to review this without talking about the online component, which kind of sucks that there's only the 2 weeks. But I've heard that they're doing some sort of microtransaction here where you're buying these credit cards in microtransactions which give you money. I mean, if the whole point of Grand Theft Auto 5 is, you know, and including the online mode, is the pursuit of money, then why make it so easily obtainable? This seems to me to be more of a thing by Take-Two than it is by Rockstar. Of course, Take-Two are pursuing the money, which is obviously the theme of this game. You've sold 1 billion copies, what more do you want? You know, you've over 1 billion copies sold in the first week. What more do you want? You know, you don't need these microtransactions in there with these stupid credit cards that you buy. Stupidity. But this is the way gaming's going, and like it or lump it, I think these microtransactions are going to be here to stay. So there'll be an online review coming up very soon. I'm going to give it a couple of days playing it. It goes live next Tuesday. I'm going to be playing it at least 2 days pretty solidly. If I see you on there, then just say hi. Of course, I'll be on the Xbox version, so if you're on and you see me, say hi, because I'm always mic'd up. I'll be trying that out, and I'll be reviewing the online mode. So if you see me, say hi. I'm also going to try and do another video tomorrow, which is going to be something different, not gaming related. So we'll see how things go. As always, I've been N7 Strider, and I should go.